All right. Welcome to cmpradio.net. Welcome to the wonderful world of Rich Blye. Here we go again, Mondays at 7 p.m. The voice of Chester. Let's go. Let's start talking, folks. Let's start talking about it. We've had a wild and wonderful weekend. I'm going to say week this year. So far, it's been very, 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 very exciting, to say the least. A lot of different things happening, a lot of different things going on. Okay. Hold on. We don't do that. Don't disturb me when I'm talking. Don't disturb me when I'm talking. All right. Before I get into today's segment that some of you have seen that I posted up in many groups and on my page, I would like to have a conversation about the terms African American and versus Black American in today's usage when it comes to speaking about us. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is twofold. Number one, we just saw an American president have a conversation with the head of state, president of Liberia. And he remarked about how he spoke the English language very well. And this instance is atypical of a lot of instances that I can absolutely attest to, that a lot of times in this world with a lot of different peoples and cultures is that sometimes you get the skin color confused with the education. Now, I want to backtrack a little bit. This segment may hurt some feelings, but you know that I do not care. This segment may, cause some concerns for your comments, but you know that I don't care because this is a point of view. And this is what freedom of speech is all about. This is about a point of view. To me, I think that the president has idiots surrounding him that should have briefed him on the history of everybody that's standing in front of him when they pay an official visit.
You don't think they did?
No.
You don't think he's just that?
No.
You think he would have listened?
No. Yes.
Come on.
Yes. Here's the thing.
All right. Okay.
This is what I've seen from the last presidency.
All right.
And this presidency.
Mm-hmm.
The last presidency, he didn't listen to nobody.
No.
He didn't listen to nobody. This presidency, when he's briefed correctly, he makes statements that make sense. Okay? Case in point. When Israel and what was the country that shooting?
Palestine.
The Palestinians were shooting off rockets at each other.
Right.
And they went in there and they brokered, the ceasefire and everything like that. And then they just went ahead and dumped all of their payloads and everything like that into each other because they knew a ceasefire was coming. And he came out unscripted and said, hey, blah, 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 blah. They don't know what the F they're doing. Now, to me, even though that was unscripted, it was an honest assessment and statement and a moment in time where this is absolutely pure logic, even though it was unorthodox in what he said, because everybody was agreeable that, okay, we got a ceasefire. We don't want nobody dying. Like, no side, like, no matter how you feel with Palestine or Israel or whatever, nobody wants to see anybody dying because I hear that. So if nobody wants anybody dying and somebody brokered a ceasefire and there was a ceasefire coming and you got both countries, both entities throwing stuff at each other, and then he's visibly upset because why? Because it's common sense. He wanted you guys to stop and you guys didn't. So once again, Trump, and I'm not being pro-Trump, but I'm just saying for the sake of argument that when people say something and other people do, you can't blow back on that person that said something because others did what they did. The actions and the behaviors go together, okay? Not necessarily with the speech. in my excellent opinion.
I mean, I get what you're saying. But he's our president. He's the only person that we can attack. We can't attack the people in Israel. We can't attack the people in Palestine, right? So he's in front of us. So it's just.
But getting back to the situation with Liberia.
Go ahead.
Okay, I don't think anybody took the time to say to him that, hey, President Monroe helped establish this country from the formerly enslaved Africans that wanted to come back to Africa. And that there was an Army Corps of Engineers that helped develop Liberia with the Africans that were already there. Now, there was resentment amongst tribes of having those that were enslaved in America. They felt as though that they spent too much time, there, whatever. But they worked it out. And the country of Liberia was formed. The official language is what? English. Why? Because we help professionally develop and cultivate this country. This is why the country's flag is red, white, and blue with a star in it. Duh. I mean, it would be common sense. Show him a picture of the flag. He would have been like, oh, what's that? That looks very patriotic. And then somebody could explain it to him, and he would have been like, oh, okay, well, they speak English like me, da da da. And he wouldn't have looked like a fool. But I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you.
I think the people on the side of him that you just said he's been listening. Mm-hmm. He's been listening to someone. Mm-hmm. They just put him in a room full of African people,
yes,
black people,
yes,
people that do not look like him.
Yes,
he just did what he normally does.
And guess what? Because the people around him don't deal with black people either. So once again, like I said,
are you for Trump? You for Trump?
No, I'm not for Trump. I'm saying like this. I'm for recognizing the people that you're talking to.
Right.
I'm for you having a conversation of fact when you're talking to somebody. So if I'm talking, let's get to this black versus African American versus black American. Okay, I want to bring this up.
Yep.
Okay, these are Africans who speak the English language, who reside in Africa. Okay. We have Americans who live in America, who speak the English language, who have never been born in Africa. Okay? Here we go, guys. Why do we call ourselves African American?
Because Jesse Jackson came out and said it. And before then, we were just black. Negroes, and it's about money. It's all about money.
So Jesse Jackson, who stood next to Martin,
right,
decided that as a whole, that Americans did not understand black Americans or their culture or their history, that the only way that the world is going to understand our connection to the motherland is to call ourselves African.
I mean, that's what we are.
No, we aren't.
That's where civilization started.
Yes, on a whole, on a grand scale.
Right.
Then hold on. If that's the case, then let's call everybody African.
I mean, you can't.
You can't.
I mean,
you can't.
No, you can't.
You can, but you can't. You can, but you can't.
But when you think about the Aborigines in Australia,
I think that they are the Aborigines in Australia.
Right.
I believe that they are indicative.
Would you say that they are of African descent?
I would say that they possess the DNA.
So what does that mean?
That means that somewhere down the line,
right?
Like
somebody walked across the street.
Somebody walked across the street,
right?
And that's that. And so I'm not disputing that. Okay, but we're talking about something from 100, 200, 300 years ago, where most people may not have that connection, because let's go back in history. In America, during the time of the Revolutionary War, there were over 25,000 freed black people living free.
Right.
Okay, hold on. So that meant that in their bloodline, they were here before the advent of this. Yes, they were here for the French and Indian War, bro.
But you know why I don't?
Hold on, they were here for the French and Indian War.
I get what you're saying, but you know why I don't like that? Because we have Jewish people right? That weren't in Germany.
Nope.
That weren't involved in the Holocaust.
Austria, Hungary, Poland.
Right? That got that feel some type way when you mention the Holocaust, but yet we as black people, we can't feel no type way when we mention slavery. That's not fair.
No. Here's the thing. It's the slave.
Whether you was free, whether you was a slave, whether you was still in Africa.
The slavery story is widely accepted. That's not the problem.
What's the problem?
The problem is that today's black people making themselves victims of that story when they are not.
How you got to explain to me how people making themselves victims?
Okay, somebody spitting on you when you walk down the street and they white?
No.
Is somebody telling you to go sit in the back of the bus when you get on the bus on transportation anywhere in this country?
No.
Is someone telling you that you got to go in through the back door in order to eat, and you can only eat off of a certain menu, or you got to be out of a town, blah blah blah? And we know that there's still some sundown towns in this country. We know that there's racism and everything like that.
It's still,
but, it's still there. But on a overall large scale, is it a group of white kids driving by in a car or in a truck?
No, they
trying to beat you up.
No, they know better.
Okay.
See, majority of the people that were once racist and the things that they did when they were racist, they can't do anymore.
Right. And why is that?
Because number one, they got other things to do, and number two, we're a little bit looser than we were then. We're not as subservient. If we're loose with each other and we're killing each other, if that was to happen, if somebody was to go and sit out front of a house and burn a cross, there's too many people sitting there like, nigga, is you tripping?
Right.
It won't end very well for the people that come out there to do that. So they can't do it openly, but racism is still big.
Oh yeah.
Right?
It's absolutely overt.
Okay.
I mean, like I've felt it. I've been a part of it.
Right.
I've seen it in my professional career as a corporate manager, as a person that has done profiling and train people and getting people to work a certain type of way. Man, there was a time where in the African American experience, when people were getting hired, this box check that I keep talking about, check the box.
Right.
Okay. There was a time, unwritten rules in certain restaurants. I'm not going to name the ones I worked for, but I'm going to say this. I know what I was told. And during the time, and I have to say this to people, in the early 90s, coming into before, 2000, I've had some conversations with certain GMs and certain regional managers that let me know to be creative with the way that I hire. That if the box check and if the box check says African American and you can't say the name, you shouldn't hire. Listen, I'm trying to see. I want to say this to people because they think that, oh, Rich, you just saying this. No, I've worked professionally you can check my resume. I promise you. I worked professionally for several companies. And this African American thing has always come up. Always come up.
So when they say you can't say their name, what do they mean? Like they got an African name or something?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. I've had it said in a way, protected class. That's another term, protected class. I've been a part of these conversations where it's been said we have to be careful about certain protected classes with what we do with this and what we do with that. I worked for a company that I had to basically steamroll and say, you got to put a disclaimer on a certain food item because it's made with pork. And we have people who are Islamic Muslims who come into our restaurant and eat. And me as a black man, understanding that, refused to serve them. Like I really did. I would literally go up to a table as a manager at a certain restaurant I worked at when I knew that I had patrons that were Muslim and say, hey, listen, before you order this item, it gets cooked in bacon grease, bacon fat. You may want to choose another selection. Right. And they appreciated that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I have a certain respect, even though that I may think differently or feel differently, I understand what your faith and what your place is, with your life is. And if I, understanding you, intentionally allow something to happen to you that does that, I'm damning my own self.
Yes, you are.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
I'm
right.
damning my own self. Right. So I was in the business, and I did make money. I made money on extra sales on the sides, baby.
Right.
I went over to the server. Hey, go upsell that table. They like me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they would go over there. Oh, what did you say to them? I told them the truth.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's how I do business.
Right.
Okay. Listen, I'm not speaking against anybody, but how I do business in truth. If my word is my bond.
That's it. That's all you got.
If that's all I got. Okay. This is all the world's giving me is my name and my word, and both of them are like gold. But when I use the terms black people and African people or African American, I view it as interchangeable. Okay? When I say interchangeable, I mean it depends upon who I'm speaking to. Now, when my brother, God rest his soul, was in the Army, and he served and went through these various checkpoints and everything like that, and when asked and what questions, hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from this, da. If you go to an airport, you go into countries of Africa. If you go to, I've been to Jamaica, they look at you and, they say, what's your nationality? You say African American, they start smiling. They're not smiling, they're laughing. They're laughing. I have a nephew, his father, African. Watched this boy being born. He grew up with my sons. And my friend, his name was Maddu. Maddu would tell me, I don't know why, Rich, I'm not making fun of it, but, I don't know why, Rich, you guys, call yourself African. You're not from Africa. You weren't born there. I'd be like, Maddu, you know what I mean? This is the term. And he goes, no. He says, our people, we make fun of it. Then they do. This is not the first time I've heard it. I think that there's a fear and a stigma of us saying it because people think that I'm putting it down. I'm not putting it down. I'm just trying to explain to people that certain things are so interchangeable, but you have to be true to yourself because the African American moniker has been monetized and you're not receiving anything from the benefit of it.
So can an Irish American, can people that believe that they're Irish, can people that believe that they're Italian not be born in Italy and still consider themselves to be Italian American?
Yes, because you know why?
Why?
Because they have a geographical landmark to attribute their lineage from.
Oh.
Right or wrong?
Okay. So the people that were stolen from Africa, that were brainwashed and brought here and beaten and hung and raped and killed and all types of other stuff.
But let's talk about
can't appreciate where they came from, or even if they didn't come from there.
Okay.
They originally came from there.
Right.
Even if they didn't come from there.
Right.
Even if they were walking in there, people were here on America for the Revolutionary War, for all the wars. They can't walk with the moniker of African American because someone that's African makes fun of them.
No. It's about understanding. It's not them making fun of them. It's that they understand that the person standing in front of them has no idea about their own personal history or lineage, and they're just accepting a blanket statement about who they are. Because after they ask the question, there comes probing questions. Well, there comes questions like, "Oh, you're African American. What tribe are you from? Where's your blah blah blah." That terms that they would use in their culture to identify with. Right. Everybody is identifiable. Okay, everybody's identifiable.
What tribe am I from? I'm from 3rd and Jeffrey. Right.
Okay.
So,
right. Okay.
Right.
Because so that's an American tribe.
Right.
Okay, so hold on. We go back to American.
Right.
Okay? We go back to the American part. Okay? Now, again, we talk about folks who want to have pride of their African culture, roots, blah, 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 blah. I am not against it. I'm 100% for it. Right. Okay? I'm one of the first people to come up and here in Chester. Like, there's a lot of stuff I learned in Chester being the first city. Like I said, I talked to Miss Sylvia Myers about Juneteenth. I learned from her about the organizational side of Juneteenth by what she did. I listened to this black woman. And when she explained it in her terms, I took what was useful for me. The same thing that I did with the Liberian Independence Day celebration that got started back in 2020, 2021 in Lansdowne. Yeah. Okay. Because of my efforts with Juneteenth, I had people of African descent from Liberia approached me about my thoughts, my intellectual property. I sat down with them, talked to them, and lo and behold, they turned around and had a ceremony for themselves based upon what? A Black American understanding his history, repeating it in a way that was understandable, enjoyable, and relatable, where it didn't create a pressure on somebody to feel guilty about the atrocities that happened. See, a lot of times people don't, when you want to hit them with something, they want to learn. I have a lot of people on my page. You see the dialogue on my page, bro. I'm a firm believer in freedom of speech.
Right.
Okay? People want to learn. People want to know. People want to understand. And if you don't allow them to understand, if the first thing that you're going to do is press them back because they said something that, you said something about black, you said something about African, you're not going to take a moment to say, well, why do you feel that way? You have to understand that their learned experience was a false experience just like yours was until you came to the light. And that's what I've gotten with a lot of my friends that are on my page. And they have said it. I didn't know that. I was never educated about that. No one taught us this in school. That's what they say. Go down my comments. I have folks that have said this over and over and over again. And what they're trying to understand is, geographically, if you're Chinese, historically and ethnically, you are from China. If you are Japanese, you are from the island lineage of Japan, so on and so forth. Yes, we were stolen. Yes, we were brought over here to slave hard. But let's talk about what's not talked about. The obliteration of the Middle Passage. We don't talk about that. Okay? Slavery from Africa was not a continuous thing. And the amount of African slaves that were taken from Africa to America were the lowest comparable numbers compared to everything down. Let me finish. It was the lowest numbers of people taken before the destruction of the mid-Atlantic slave trade. Now, how did we get to not having any slaves? Ready, drum roll, please. Jamaica, Nassau, Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Haiti. What did they do? They created farms.
Right.
They took the indigenous people that were already there when they enslaved them and they made them mate each other like cattle. This is where chattel slavery comes from. This is where it comes from. They made it sons with their mothers. They made it fathers with their daughters. They diluted the bloodline intentionally to eradicate the African presence in the blacks in this country. And they did so 200 years after the abolition of the Mid-Atlantic slave trade.
And when was the abolition of the Mid-Atlantic slave trade?
The British got over the fact that they had slaves. The British was like, listen here, we're tired of everybody going down here and raping this African country because we're got to go down here and imperialize them. And so we need them down here. So the British said, anybody that comes across into Africa, we're going to bring our armada down here. We're going to blow your ships out of the water. And that's what they did. That's part of history. See, a lot of people, they don't understand that there were different breaks in time for us. There were different breaks in time for us, and because there were different breaks in time for us, the context of who we really are is diluted to a certain degree. Yes, there are people who are African, who were slaves, who did survive their bloodlines, and their bloodlines do exist to this day, and I'm proud of that, absolutely. I can't go against none of that. I'm proud of that. But realistically, there are people who are cut off from the motherland, who have no connection. They have the DNA sequence. They have the DNA sequence, and that's it. But we don't talk about that because people don't, because you know why? Because slavery's got to sell. You got to sell the slave story, bro. You can't tell them that the British all of a sudden got morals and decided they're going to end the slave trade. More slaves went into South America than North America. And guess what? And that movement that pushed and wiped out the Tainos was the African slave trade. Because they killed their people in South America so much, Venezuela and all of those countries down there. And then when they brought in the black people and everything like that, guess what? They made it them too. So this is why you have Afro-Hispanics.
So it's okay for Afro-Hispanics to say it?
No, it's not okay for anybody to say it, in my opinion. But again, it's point of view. It's what you're used to. It's your environment. It's what you've been learned. It's what you've been taught. But understand, you also have to add some other contexts that haven't been taught in order for you to go back into your own lineage to find out where you really come from. Hey, great. You use Ancestry.com. That's
true.
Great. You know
I mean,
what
they don't say Afro Jamaican, Afro Bahamian. It's just Bahamian. It's just Jamaican. It's just Haitian. You feel me? Like.
Because why? Because you have geography.
Right.
You have a starting point.
Right.
Okay? You have a starting point. And with that being said, I'm not saying that people have gone down their bloodline and they've saw that they're from a certain region in Africa and they go to Africa and they apply for this dual citizenship. But have you seen some of the interviews of some of these black Americans lately?
What you mean?
What you mean what I mean?
What, the people that's over there?
Man, it ain't. It's a nice place to visit.
I mean, I don't know how you could go over there and think you're just gonna. Why wouldn't you go to Liberia? Why would you go anywhere else?
Well, you do know Liberia is really just coming out of a 32-year civil war.
Right.
So, they've got to redevelop their country as well, which is what they're doing. And shout out to them for resolving their differences so they can get their, stuff back on track. But again, we use this money-driven vehicle. What is the benefit that we're getting out of using it? Now, I'm going to say this. All of your elected officials, all of your celebrity superstars and everything like that, they get something out of it.
What?
The first African-American president. The first African-American mayor. The first African-American da-da-da-da-da. You one of the first real black radio stations in Delaware County. Where's your Because somebody can't make no money off of you. Because somebody can't make no money off of you. That's why. Because you're not willing to compromise who you are and what you are in order for them to moniker you or brand you and sell you as this to their people. Here's this African-American John Pierre. Okay? They can sell that. They can't sell the black man. Oops. Did I say something?
No, I mean,
oops, did I say something?
Nah, I see it. I see it. I understand it.
Yeah. Okay. The game has been sold. Okay. So let's get into it. All right. So we got through. We get past the slavery part. We start coming into our industrial selves.
Right.
And I've said this before. How come no schools teach the amount of inventions that were done by those who were formerly enslaved from 1870 to 1920.
So I did this school year. I taught some kids all of that. I brought in some stuff. They was like, "Wow, I didn't know that." I said, "You wouldn't know that."
Everyday stuff, right?
I mean, they don't want you to know how great you are, how smart you are, that you create based off a need. It's just a need.
So that's what, hold on. So watch this. Black Americans created out of necessity.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Now, those necessities from that time, from 1870 to 1920, are still in our American system and now have been spread worldwide.
Right.
Right? Hold on. All they did was improve on the original design.
That's it.
That's it.
If they even did that, some designs really didn't need no approval.
Now, I'm gonna put it to you like this. So before they started replacing these subway cars and everything with computers in some cities and everything like that, you have a train conductor,
Right.
and you have something called the dead man switch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The same person invented the gas mask. The same person invented the third rail system in which the train travels that you can't touch or you'll get the shock of your life.
Mm-hmm.
But when we talk about this man, what do we say? Famous black inventors, black history. But then we say, Garrett Morgan, an African-American inventor. Which one are we doing? Either he's a black American inventor who lived here in America, who invented his product here in America, that did his stuff here in America, or he was an African American who came across or was birthed into a lineage that created this, and this belongs to Africa. See, people have pride in their inventions. People have pride in their history. People have pride in what people go over there and visit their lands for, right? So when we, as black Americans, stand up and say, hey, this is our pride. This is our what's the name. Oh, no, you can't say that. You have to say this, because this is what's going to promote what we're doing, and this is what we can accept. Case in point, we went from being slaves to darkies, coons, of course, the infamous N-word. We've been through, so many different name changes. Mulatto, Octoroon, okay? So many name changes.
Octoroon.
Oh, yeah, doesn't that bad for you?
That is funny.
That's funny, bro. We've been through so many name changes. But I want to talk about my favorite era of all time, the 70s. I'm going to say this. In the 70s, was when black people, even despite the poverty and the racism and the police brutality and the circumstances of whatever, there was much more unity in that decade from the 70s to the 80s, bro, for me. I can't speak on before then. I know people going to say, man, you don't know how it was in the 50s, 60s, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how it was in the 50s, 60s. I wasn't born. But in the era that I was born in,
you felt the unity.
That's the safest I've ever felt in my life.
You know why?
I'm not even gonna lie.
You know why?
Because I knew everybody in my neighborhood. I knew that we didn't have these mechanisms that are in place now, not as prevalent. Yeah, we had, some sexual predators and stalkers and stuff like that. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, we did have those problems, but we didn't have the amount of deviance that we have now, where it's so prevalent that people go, oh, you got some kids in the car, huh? Well, it happens. You know what I mean? That's not how we reacted back in the day. So if a kid went missing, the whole neighborhood was on alert.
Right.
Okay,
out looking for him.
There was none of this, hey, well, the police got it, they got the dogs and the helicopters, blah, blah, blah. No, it was none of that. Right. We had complete communities, and I'm talking about complete black communities. That's how I grew up. People tend to think that because, and again, they look at that skin and they heard the story someplace else, or they see the Good Time story, the Good Time series where they grew up, they automatically expect you to come from a poor background or an uneducated background or a background where you didn't have enough means. No, I didn't have the access to certain things that you had, but grandmom and mom and dad taught me how to access certain things and make it work. And that's what I want to talk about as far as the progress of black Americans. Let's go dip back into the Civil War. We've had noted Polish, Prussian, Italian, Jewish, Greek,
Irish,
Chinese, Irish, formerly enslaved blacks, free blacks. How many Africans fought in the Civil War?
I mean, how many Africans?
How many actual Africans fought in the Civil War?
As many black people.
No. You see, once again, this is where we got to go back to where people were cut off at the Middle Passage for over 200 years, that they were cut off from Africa. So how many actual people?
Still African.
No. Hold on. You don't get it? Okay. Watch this.
It's like water is wet.
No. Okay. So watch this. Here's this wet water, right?
Right.
Here's this wet water.
Right.
Right. You see it? Mm-hmm. You can't touch that wet water for 200 years.
Okay.
So how you gonna know that water's wet?
Because I remember water being wet.
You remember.
Right.
200 years later. Your ancestors, your kids,
you pass stories
if they've
down.
never touched water, this goes to swimming. If they never touched water, how would they know how to do it? This touches with the swimming.
Right, I get that.
Black people, Africans know how to swim.
I was raised differently though.
Yes.
My father was a Haitian immigrant. Mm-hmm. My father came here from Haiti. So my father had a story, had a lineage to tell of his people. He told me it countless times. When he threw me in the water to swim at 5 years old, figure it out.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like because that one weakness you will have, they will always use that against you.
It's the fear.
Right. So
it's fear.
Why are you scared of something that you're greater than? Right? You're not in the ocean, you're in a pool.
Right.
Only way you can go is down.
So if we are a people, and I'm going to talk about Black Americans being here, and again, this is just my point of view. This is not anything that I'm saying that anybody should do or how anyone should be. Everyone has a right to believe in the way that you want to believe, and I am not knocking it. I'm asking some questions because this is a radio program.
Right.
It's a topic that's been discussed with multiple people in bars and multiple people in restaurants, people on Facebook pages. This is a topic of discussion, and again, this is the station, cmpradio.net, for uncomfortable conversations. Mm-hmm. Okay? This is the radio station for that. So, you know me, Mr. Uncomfortable. Let's go with it. In my opinion, and I'm going to bring up this green book. Okay? In my opinion, the Negro Motorist Green Book was written for who?
Negroes,
meaning the formerly enslaved?
Meaning all of the people that were not white.
Yes. Or like how people like to call them people of color, right?
Right.
If you look through this book, right, and I did some research on some of the buildings, and some of them are still around, and some of them aren't. All of these businesses were here to serve those who were traveling through the country as Black Americans, African Americans, Negro Americans, Afro Americans, persons of color. Because at this time, no matter which moniker you went under, the heavy prevalence of racism, slavery, Jim Crow, segregation was high. So there was a point of people uniting to be able to go to different places, no matter what name you gave yourself. It was about the circumstances and the instances of this racist country at the time where it was very prevalent, and those who were of color with every name in it had no place to go. Let's talk about Chester, and because Chester, you're in this book.
All right.
Hotels. Do you remember the Hotel Harlem at 1909 West 3rd Street? Mm-hmm. Do you remember the Moonglow at 225 Market? Mm-hmm. What about the Rio Restaurant at 321 Central Avenue? Mm-hmm. What about the beauty parlors of Rosella at 413 Concord Avenue, or Alex Davis at 123 Rainey Street? Mm-hmm. What about the barbershop? Blowden, 1710 West 3rd Street. What about Wright's Tavern at 3rd and Central? What about the tailor shop at 601 Thyman? And I'm just going to read off a couple of those.
Right.
These were Black African-American businesses in Chester. There's a whole lot more.
Right.
Chester had jazz.
Right.
Chester had this.
Right.
Chester had that. Mm-hmm. You know why they took it? because you were black. Point plain and simple. You were prosperous. Plain and simple. But you were still a people with a cross identity factor. Some people pulling this way, some people pulling that way. Not everybody pulling the way that they wanted. Personal interest. So, and guess what? They outsourced it. They outsourced you by opening up department stores. Kind of like the Walmart right now. Kind of like Amazon right now. Instead of buying the black business, instead of buying the African-American business, we chose to buy online.
I mean, they put distrust in our community. They put distrust in our community, and we began to not trust each other. You said the 70s were one of the most beautifulest times you remember.
Mm-hmm.
That book that you got in your hand was probably written 1934?
1936 established.
Right.
And updated all the way through 1936 to about 1976.
Right. So we're talking about 40 years. 40 years of us working together. 40 years of us seeing our leaders killed. 40 years of us seeing people pushed out and burned down and raped and murdered and different things like that. And then after they do all of that to us, then they throw drugs and guns in our community.
But hold on. We bear some responsibility of self-sustainability, bro, because the Chinese didn't leave when all of those drugs and stuff came in here.
They didn't have crack in their community.
No. I didn't say they have it in their community. But
they had heroin.
Yeah,
and they were working. Wait a minute. Heroin was in our community in the 70s.
Yeah,
you just said it was the best community you.
No. I said overall.
Right.
Okay.
Heroin was in our community then.
Listen, but heroin wasn't something that you saw every day like crack.
No,
heroin wasn't something that you saw every day like you see with the meth and as crank and everything like that.
Right.
Yes, we had it, but it wasn't in any child's face like it is now. It wasn't on social media. If you saw a heroin addict, you had to go to the seedier side of town, or it was somebody's house that you knew that's what it was for.
Or they had a smoke shop where they sat there and they did what they did.
You had a house on a block that might have been the house, but everybody knew that was the house, and nobody ventured near that. Or better yet, if that was the house in certain neighborhoods, that house got evicted. They didn't tolerate it.
They didn't tolerate what?
They didn't tolerate drug selling on blocks, baby. We didn't tolerate that. No. See, today's local drug dealers is go up here, set up shop, give out freebies, make some friends, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, you got a full shop going. Back in the 70s, I promise you, bro. I promise you.
There were drugs.
Yes, there were drugs. But
right,
what I'm saying is that you still had a bonding of a community back then that did not tolerate that, bro.
Why didn't they tolerate the drugs? Because they realized, because the leaders in their community were still leaders, right? And they weren't being bought or paid to not be leaders. And they weren't receiving money hand over foot, right, to not be a leader or to look the other way or to let things go. I think when we got into a point where the cocaine was just so prevalent. Everybody had it. Everybody got it. It came into the community and it hit us so hard. But they saw it as a way to weaponize it and turn it against us. You know, the imprisonment of all the black men that were in prison, the mothers, the crack babies that were born, right? They're going to have all these. Now we got all these kids with all these deficiencies and parents, and it's passed down to generation after generation. It's not. So when you think about what happened in the 80s, how they brought it in, how it was used against us.
Yes.
That was how they broke our unity. We didn't trust anybody. Grandma putting bars on the front of her house because Uncle Tommy keep coming in and stealing the TV every other weekend, or coming in and raping little Susie, you feel me, when he come in, right? We don't trust our own family. When you don't trust your own family, you don't trust anybody.
Now,
you feel me? So anybody can hurt me. Anybody can steal. Anybody can come in here. So that was the thing. And that was our fault, man. We dropped the ball. The leaders that were supposed to be leading were not leading.
No. And guess what? Even to this day, even with the lack of leadership, there are several blocks here in Chester that I can go on, and those communities are unfazed by the environment surrounding them because of the neighborhood leadership. Strong communities start with strong neighbors who understand each other by individual blocks. The identity factor is that, yes, while the terminology of being African American and being black is interchangeable, it's still understanding that, yes, we did have struggles. I'm not minimizing the struggle. The problem is that we keep maximizing the struggle instead of maximizing the freedom of movement with the areas that we can control. And as Black Americans, people who call themselves African or say that they're from African descent look down on us and say, we don't know our history. We don't understand that we can overachieve. I say this especially now. P, I'm sorry. I see too many kids under the age of 12 that are now millionaires off of this social media. Please, I want people to stop with the excuses that you cannot create something. Yes, you're going to have to work hard. You're going to get knocked down. Somebody ain't going to like you. They're going to try to trip you up. They're going to do all of that. But if you really, 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 really want something out of life,
Got to work for it.
you got to work for it. But we keep putting these.
What happens when you work for it? That's the thing, right? What happens when you work for it? What happens when you get what you want? Where do you go?
What do you mean? Where you go? Anything's possible.
No, I'm just saying, where do you go? If you lived in a city like Chester all your life and
Yes.
you all of a sudden just hit it and you get rich, do you move out of Chester? Or do you show other kids how to get it?
I say this. I believe that everybody moves and gravitates to a comfortable position. I believe that you can move out. You can move out, but don't forget to come back if you move out. Now, if you're comfortable where you're at and you can make life comfortable, I've seen people say, hey, I'm going to be ghetto fabulous. I'm going to be ghetto rich. You know what I mean? And they do it and it works and everything like that. And it does work to a certain degree. But most people, the whole thing about, moving up is not living in the same places that kept you in states of depression with the lack of opportunities that you had. When people make it, okay, when people make it, right? Where do they move to? They move outside of Philly, but they maintain a residence. But they move out, but they maintain a residence. Same scenario. You can maintain a residence where, hey, you come back during the winter, you run your winter programs, blah, blah, blah. And then during the summer, you go do what you want to do, whatever. There's a lot of people that do that. But I think it's unfair to say to people that they made it, but then they got to stay in places where people aren't willing to pull and do what that person did to make it. If you're not going to follow that person's example of how to get out, why should they come back and sit with you and you don't want to get out?
I don't know the example of how to get out. What I do.
Sure you do.
What I do understand is we've been talking about this come back to your community since W.E.B. Du Bois first said it. Right? The uplifting of the Negro American, right? The Black American, right? Go out, get your education, but come back into our community. And I want to say it worked to a point. Well, see, when I started going to high school, all the teachers in the school were Black. All the teachers in the school were from Chester, right? Even though there were some white teachers in the school, there was still they were from Chester.
Right.
Everybody always wonder why their kids, when it snows just a little bit, don't have school. That's because the teachers aren't from your area anymore.
And they can't get here.
They're traveling.
They're traveling.
They're traveling great miles to come into a school to teach your children. They're not from here. They don't know anything about here. And that's the issue. So we're not raising. When Cheney was first founded, it was a teachers' university. People went there to become teachers. Lincoln, same thing, right? So, it just, I don't know. I don't.
See, here's the thing. We have to make our community sustainable. I feel what you're saying, P, because in my own bloodline, in my family in Asheville, North Carolina, and I talk about this. We had to build our community. You wanted a store, you wanted a beauty shop, you know what I mean? You needed this work done. Well, the black people helped each other. That was the sense of the community, because freedom wasn't about what you have. Freedom is really what you don't have. So if you don't have a beauty shop, you don't have any freedom. If you don't have a place that was shoeing the horses, you don't have any freedom. We have this certain expectation in our culture that because somebody makes it, that they're obligated to do all. And I'm saying this, when that person was putting their mixtape together, was you cheering them on? Mm-hmm. When that person was saying, hey, I'm trying to build a radio station and make it the voice of Chester, were you sharing his content? Mm-hmm. Were you ensuring that, hey, you know, P, that's my guy, blah, 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 blah. Because you know me, P, I'll call out anybody because I look at your views, I look at your shares, I look at it, bro, because again, I'm coming here and I'm supportive by running this show.
Right.
But I'm going to be even more supportive by promoting this programming here at this station in the near future by getting people to understand that, guess what? Yes, we do need sponsorships in order for this radio station to run, because it does run on love, it does run on positivity, it does run on certain strength, but it also needs to kind of build that fold, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay, it does need the kind of thing in order for this to grow into a station so we could have more content and talk about these things. This is what I'm talking about when I say at cmpradio.net that our terminology of how we are classified is the way that we treat one another. Because we're classified by terminology. You don't understand that after slavery, that everybody that came across on the census, depending upon their color, was labeled black or African or Negro. One of the three. So if you weren't African, you are now. Because they said so. Because they said so. Again, because Jesse Jackson said so. But I'm going to say this again. Why did we have a Black Power movement?
Bring us closer. You said
why did we have a Black Power movement?
You saying through the Black Panthers?
Black Panthers.
To bring us closer. It was against
Black Americans.
As Black Americans.
Hold on. Right. As Black Americans.
I get what you're saying.
Hold on. Because look at these periods in time, baby.
Absolutely.
Look at these periods in time.
Absolutely.
So if we're going to dig into it,
let's dig in.
Let's dig in.
I ain't got no problem with it. I got a spoon. Let's
talk about Afro-American. Afrocentric. Afro. See, Afro is short for African, but not African. We use that term as a point of homage to the motherland. That was our homage, to say Afro. But our strength relied in the fact that it was the big afros and the black and the hair, but the American attitude. The American way. This is why you had the WIC program that the Black Panthers started, because it wasn't entrepreneurial until, the federal government took it from us after they killed us. After they killed them, rather. The kindergarten program, okay? The kindergarten program. These were American ideals based upon the Black Americans' need. Because they didn't have the freedom to take them somewhere in American society because they didn't want us. So once again, we had to create ourselves. Who was coming over here to help us create anything? The answer is no one. So why did we have the Black Power movement? Because we went from being colored to Negro. We went from Negro with during Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all these guys. The young generation underneath them did not like the fact that they had to attach themselves to a people or a continent per se that was not part of their struggle. Look it up. And listen, I'm not knocking it, but if you didn't got nothing to do with it, why are you talking about it? If you didn't put in on this man, how you going, you know what I mean? You didn't put in on this man. So again, during the 70s, one of the greatest explosions of our people was the care for ourselves. That's why I say the 70s was great. The greatest explosion of care for ourselves was during this time. The greatest explosion of unity was saying it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. James Brown wrote a whole national anthem that was sung from the White House to the golf course. Had white people singing it. If it was no James Brown, black American pop star, singer, rock and roll artist, you wouldn't have any rap music. I dare anybody to say that. I dare anybody to say James Brown is not only the godfather of soul, but also a godfather of hip hop. Because if y'all didn't have no beats and we didn't have these beat machines that y'all got now, where y'all think y'all got them? Y'all went right in, hey, big payback. Where you think you got that from? James Brown. How you think he grew up? Why you think that he went over and serviced the American black service troops and went over there proud with his fist in the air and talked about being proud of being black? We were proud of being black. Hold on, Public Enemy came out. Proud to be black, y'all. Proud to be black, y'all. And that's a fact, y'all. So what's that? But then as soon as somebody that wanted to move a movement monetarily,
Rainbow movement.
The Rainbow Coalition. As soon as somebody wanted to get them dollars, all of a sudden, we became African. Again. Yeah. Again. It happened twice. We were African when we were brought over, and now we're African again. What happened to the Black Power movement? You killed them. They
tried to come back doing that whole
because you don't have the energy, bro.
What was that? Black Lives Matter?
You don't no. See the thing about it is that I'm gonna tell you why.
That was just a money grab there.
Again, they made money off of it. It is absolutely evident, because if Black lives really matter and the amount of millions of dollars that they got, if they really care, it would be in your community. So many of these social justice warriors in Delaware County know what I'm talking about, because this is why I rode with you, to see exactly what you were going to do in the future. When you said these words 5 years ago, I care about black people, and this. Now they all in politics, bro. Each and every one of them. Oh, Rich, I'm not going to get into politics. You lying sack of shit. Liars, bro. I'm not in it to do this, I'm in it to help black people have a voice and give them a platform, blah, blah, blah. Now you running for council at large in Upper Darby. Liar.
Things can change, though.
Bro, let me explain something to you. I know things can change.
All right. But not that fast.
But no, it's not that fast. It's just that this particular individual from Upper Darby that I'm talking about, he knows who he is. He knows who he is. Is that he used that platform to get to this point, and I don't care what anybody says, he has not done anything significant for any Black American that I know. Maybe he has helped the Black Americans that he knows. Maybe he's helped the Black Americans that he's associated with. Maybe so. I don't know, because I don't run in those circles. But I can guarantee you this. In the community that he's in, he's had over $250,000 in grant money that's gone to murals. What do we get when people call us by certain terms and names, folks, is what I'm trying to ask. Black American versus African American. Who gets paid off of putting a stamp on your life? I know, P. I know I gotta stop doing this, bro.
No. No.
I gotta stop doing this. But I just want to say this.
I love a show that makes me think.
So when I use, again, I'm gonna get back to this. So when I use the terms of black people and African people interchangeably, when I refer to African people, I mean the people of the global African diaspora, which are located in the continent of Africa or in countries around the world. Black people, in my usage, refers to the global presence of Africans, but they are a divided and separate community. But the words are interchangeable for a shared experience.
Right.
Okay? For a shared experience, yes. But we have to stop attributing ourselves and calling ourselves something that the world doesn't recognize us as.
So what do they recognize us as?
Black Americans.
So what's wrong with Black Americans?
There's nothing wrong with Black American.
So who doesn't say Black Americans?
People who call themselves African American.
I call myself Haitian American.
You are Haitian American.
Because I'm mixed.
No, you're not mixed.
No, my father was Haitian. My mother was American.
Watch this. That makes you a Haitian American.
Right.
Okay? You are Haitian by your father's bloodline.
Right.
Okay? You are Haitian.
Right.
He comes from Haiti.
Right.
There's no dispute.
Right.
If somebody's from Trinidad, there's no dispute.
Right.
If somebody's parents are from Africa, but they're born here in America, they're still African.
African American.
They're still African though, because their parents are African.
So they're not Black Americans.
They're African.
But would you consider them Black Americans?
African, bro. If your parents come from Africa, okay, both your parents come from Africa. Mm-hmm. You come to America. Mm-hmm. Your status doesn't change. Mm-mm. You are African. Mm-hmm. You're in America now. Mm-hmm. You have a child. Mm-hmm. What is that child? African. That child is African by bloodline. Now, by nationality, American.
Right, because you got a Social Security.
African American.
African American. All right, I get that.
Okay?
I get that.
Black person, here in America, you from Georgia. Your grandmother, your mother, and your father are from Georgia.
Black American.
Okay?
Because, I mean...
And I know people are going to argue, well, that's black is a color, it's devoid of this, da, 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 da,
So is white.
So is white. There's no such thing as a Puerto Rican. Tell me what language Puerto Ricans speak. I tell you what, you want to see some real racism? Call a Puerto Rican a Mexican.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Hold on. Call a Haitian a Dominican.
They don't like that. Call a Haitian a Jamaican.
Call a Haitian a Jamaican.
Call a Jamaican a Bahamian.
Listen, the machetes are coming out, baby.
You know
what I'm saying?
He ain't lying.
Hold on. I'm dead serious. And I'm going to say this. My man, Nicky Scarfo, may he rest in peace, bro. My man, Nicky Scarfo, was Jamaican. And see, I tell people this. I'm not an expert. But if somebody who was born, raised, immersed in their own culture sits down with me and says, let me tell you about my life. Let me tell you about the people that surrounded me from my village. Let me tell you about the people that's in my kingdom because I know people, da, 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 da. This is who we are. Don't worry about what the news say. This is who we are. On the surface, when the news come on, everybody's getting, yeah, African American, yeah, sure. Sure. Because you know that you got to smile for the camera. But deep down inside you, you're going to be like, man, I'm Haitian. What you mean? But, you got to get along.
I say that's why there's no unity because people don't know where they belong.
No.
So everybody wants to rush to get to the top of the mountain so they can.
Everybody want to be a part of the get along guy.
I posted it a couple weeks ago. I said, man, don't stand over top of me. You uppers, bro, that stand over top and piss on my head and tell me it's rain. You want to tell me it's not rain. I know it's piss. I smell it. Yeah. I see how it falls. It's not rain. But this is what happens and when our community doesn't understand working together and building each other up. You were just talking about building a community. Right, when we look at our community, for how long has our city been a food desert? Have we not had a market? all right, there ain't nobody that can put some money together to go in there and get a loan to get a market. No, you get a loan to get an SUV. You can get a loan to buy a new house, but you don't want to build up your community.
No.
Don't you understand that building up your community can build you up, right? So
if you build these places of sustainability in these communities, then you stop the amount of money that flows out of that community into other communities. As we all know, it takes over 30 days in the Chinese community before a dollar leaves.
They don't even want to give you change.
No, they keep them pennies. And I say this to people all the time. I say, if you don't get your change, stupid,
right,
man, it's just a couple pennies. Miss Lee got a whole bunch of water bottles back there
with pennies
in that mug.
Right.
I mean, pennies, quarters, nickels, dimes, all separated.
Pay for her daughter's tuition off of that.
Listen, they going to college off of that change, baby.
But you don't want it.
That you don't want. You and this is what I'm trying to talk about.
I argue for my change.
You talk about you're so oppressed and that we're in poor circumstances, but you'll leave change.
And they think that's what we do. So I got something from the store last week. I think it came like $7.52. I got what 45 cents back. I said, nah, bro, like where my 3 pennies at?
Yeah.
You feel me? Like you like what? I said, give me my 3 pennies.
Yeah.
I said, man, that's petty. I said, this petty, you trying to rob me for my change. Like, what the fuck type shit?
Right.
But, just thinking about how that works, and they do it constantly. I wasn't always worried about it.
But I'm going to tell you, Pete, I literally worked for Chinese when I was in my youth in Philly. I worked for them. And what I say to people is that I'm Mr. International. Because I've worked for Chinese, I've worked for Greeks, I've worked for Irish, you name it, Italian, you name it. And I've been exposed to so many different cultures and so many different ways of life where I didn't go into work and just go, oh man, that's just a Chinese guy, I ain't gonna pay him no mind. When the Chinese man spoke to me about something and he felt as though it was important to share it with me, I kept it. When the Italian man taught me something or whatever, blah, 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 I kept it. When the black man taught me something, I kept it. I had a guy way back in the day, I worked for Clover before it went out of business. And this man was not only my school disciplinarian, but he was also the warehouse manager at the local Clover in Cheltenham. This man taught me so much about logistics and the understanding about how things move in the warehousing industry, in the warehousing world. This man taught me so much about numbers and number sequencing and everything. And I'm talking about before the phones. This is a man that taught me the pride of being a black man and working hard and things of that endeavors. So again, when I say about the 70s, that from, 1967 all the way up to 1984, 1985, all of these things that we were taught to be proud to be black, be black Americans, not hate this country. Now you got people saying I'm African American and I hate America. What? When did that happen? Because it's happening. Just the other day at my American Legion, and this is on my post, and I saw the videos of the kid that did it, decided that he was going to bend up the staves of where we have our memorial markers for our soldiers and rip up the flags. Now, these laws for all of these protesters and people, how they feel about this country and feel about the politics of this country and feel about the leaders of this country, these laws, these protections in America, they protect you. So you absolutely can come over to an American Legion as a little black kid and rip up the flags and rip up the posts and destroy the property of a country that gives you the freedom to do so. Because you couldn't go to Mexico and burn no flag.
No.
You couldn't go over to Jamaica and burn the Jamaica. Man, come on, man. Bro, I would love for people like the Brittany Griners of the world and all these other people, that the woman that went to Dubai and all this other type stuff. You used your African-American moniker thinking that that's a shield, that people are going to care about your part of your diaspora. They don't. They absolutely do not. They don't. The international community could care less. Not saying that they don't understand, not saying that they don't relate, not saying that they don't have empathy for it. They absolutely do. But that part is over, and what they're saying, so what are you doing about it? Because the Jewish people did get themselves together. Because the Hispanic people did get themselves together. Hispanic people got themselves together now. I keep seeing 5 to 6 people of Hispanic descent fixing these houses. So I know they all kicked in.
5 to 6.
Yeah, listen,
10 to 12.
listen, I know they all kicked in and put up a couple $1,000.
And they're going to fix that house.
And they're going to fix that house and flip it.
And then they're going to know.
Okay?
They're going to move
but
to
I know
another
10
house.
brothers. I know 10 brothers that got money, bro. And when I say they got money, they were at the all-white party at the bar. At the bar. Shout out to my boy making that money at that bar, Asian dude. You know what I'm saying? But this is what we do. Every week, we in the bar flashing, but you talking about, I'm a proud African American. We got it going on. No, you don't. Our unity comes from being honest, first of all. That's that trust that we were talking about earlier.
I think but that's a cause and effect, right? That's not just done because
That's a cause and an excuse, bro.
No,
Stop playing.
It's a cause and an effect. Like PTSD is real, bro. Like, and I feel like, you know, if we were to study why black people spend money the way they do, and just in my lamest term, it's just to show a motherfucker that has oppressed you that you can't oppress.
Exactly,
Right.
bro.
But,
exactly.
But we're doing it in the wrong because no one has taught. Again, if no one sat and taught us where we came from or where our family came from or who we are, then no one taught us how to spend our money. If our men were locked up, if our men were out in the street, if our men were getting high, if our men were running the street, they couldn't tell the young men how to spend their money. So now they can't tell their young men how to spend their money. Now the women are upset because the money's being spent in the bar with the loose women. Oh, the women see the women being loose, they getting the money, then they all go be loose. Now we got all the women going to be loose and all the men trying to be drug dealers, and it doesn't work like that.
Right.
It really doesn't work like that.
So again, so where do we start?
With our young men,
with our youth right now.
Yeah,
because you know why? Two things are going to happen.
Gotta let the generation go.
Hold on. You still, to a certain degree, can save that generation that we think is lost to a certain degree, and I'm explaining. Go ahead. So, what we're seeing now with Fusion Fridays, what we're seeing now with various other people having various other youth-related programs, and actually sitting down and giving them the information they need, like how to work with certain tools or some type of financial literacy. All of that is coming from where? The community, right? They may be sponsored. They may have the brand of, say, the health department, or have the brand of this group, or have the brand, but the work is being done by the community. So we grab a hold of these youth right now that we're reaching, and we make sure that we don't let them go. Children, no matter what age they are, don't want to be left out. So if you got a kid that people have said, oh, we can't do nothing with this kid, you know, he's a terrorist, he just da-da-da-da-da-da. If you concentrate on taking care of the kids that really want to do it, sooner or later, that kid that is kind of resentful is going to come peeking by the gate or asking their homie, oh, yo, what y'all doing over there? And then come by and, you know, kind of give you that offset and I'm not really with it. We have to learn how to get out of that thin skin of somebody is a thug and they don't want to hear what I have to say and blah, blah, blah. Because I can tell you right now, I go in my community down the Second Ward Playground in Upper Darby, and I can tell you, I've had these kids call me all types of bitch ass ends and go fucking on OG, fuck you, da 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 da. Sure did. You know what I kept doing? I kept coming back out there. I kept coming back out there. I kept coming back out here. Now I got a kid, literally, when I come on the block, you know what this kid calls me? Mr. Juneteenth. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't relent. Because I didn't go, oh man, the kids, they ain't gonna listen to an OG. Yes, you will. The OG that keeps coming back. The OG that ain't scared of you. The OG that'll run ball with you. The OG that'll sit back and play a game of chess with you. The OG that'll talk to you about how to go get this job. You know what I mean?
Kids want what we wanted. Yeah. Consistency.
Consistency. That's all they want.
That's it. Just show up.
And that's what I'm talking about with your Fusion Fridays, bro. The consistency with the expectation that these kids know something good is coming.
Right.
And because they know what's good for them, not only do they come in good,
right.
but they leave good.
Right.
Chester's crime numbers this summer are down. Your shootings are down.
Oh, our shootings are down because
because you got a curfew and you got things for them to do. You got a curfew and you got things for them to do.
There are still people being shot.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying there's people being shot, but I'm saying
it's down and it's not really down in comparison to other years. I think it's down in comparison to last year. Last year was a
very rough, trying year.
But it's really down because we're out in the community. We're talking to young men and we're telling them, listen, bro, like if you can solve it, if you can help it. Like, why you gonna spend the rest of your life locked up? Why you think you're gonna be able to get away with that?
Exactly.
Number two, like if you're over a girl, bro, it's more women out here. Number three, if it's over money, it's more money out here. So if you beefing over anything, the only thing you can possibly beef about and to be okay is somebody doing something to your mother, your sister, your aunt, your cousin. You feel me? Your family. Now that's different. But if it's a girl, no, we're not shooting nobody over no girl. So we're going out in the community and we're talking to these young men. We're holding them accountable. And we're also saying, bro, you don't want to spend the rest of your life in jail.
I think part of that is that, and I know a lot of women, not a lot, some, because the vast majority of women that I talk to agree along these lines. They are finally agreeable to the fact that we have to take these places as men in order to instruct these men. They are. I've seen it. I'm gonna say
in order to instruct every child.
Yeah, I understand. Because instruct every child.
Your daughters need it too. They need to know.
Yes, especially
especially
your daughters
from a man, bro. And
the only way you can do that is to show love to your daughters,
bro. No matter what.
No matter what.
No matter what. It gets hard sometimes. It absolutely gets hard sometimes.
Bro, you met my kid,
right?
Okay, it ain't always peaches and cream.
No, it ain't always gonna be peaches and cream. But you stand there and you take it. I had a conversation with my older daughter today. I said, I've been here. You know, we haven't always gotten along. We haven't always done things the right way. I haven't done things the right way, and I apologize for that. But I'm here. Right. You pick up your phone and you call me. Do I answer?
Right.
Do I show up?
Right.
If I come and see that you got an attitude, don't I turn around and walk away? Yeah, you do. I said, I need you to understand that's my boundary. You having an attitude, don't work with me because I can't say anything to you. So if you got an attitude, when I pull up, I'm not even going to come in. I don't want no smoke.
But again, where does that come from? Okay? That comes from what your father instilled in you for you to be able to, no matter what your flaws, because your father's a flawed individual, so is your grandfather.
Yeah, ain't nobody perfect.
Ain't nobody perfect. So the same way that you had these same values and morals, no matter what you did to yourself, you're not going to allow it to happen to your children. You're not going to allow it to happen to your descendants, okay? That's the honor of living here in America, despite the atrocities, okay? And they were many, okay? Despite the atrocities, we still rose. Especially, like I said, 1870, 1923. We had a boom, okay? Then we expanded out west. We had another boom, okay? Late 60s into the 70s. We had another boom. 90s. We had a boom. College, baby. Everybody was wearing Widener. Everybody was wearing Cheney. Everybody was doing the videos. You saw the videos.
Freaknik?
No, I'm talking. No, not Freaknik. I'm talking about the college campus.
Said I saw the videos. That's the only videos I saw from the 90s.
No, but if you go back into the archives, right?
Nah, people were graduating from college before that. My uncle was a
Yeah.
lawyer. He graduated from John Linder. I was just in Wilder today. I saw a picture of him. Like, people were graduating from college before the 90s. What happened was we had a boom. Why we had this boom is because we had Bill Cosby on TV showing people that they could be greater. You feel me? They could be doctors. They could be lawyers. Their kids could go to school. Their kids, and then
We had positive
while all of
programming.
while all of that was going on, they was sliding in. All right, we done had enough of this. Like, because we got black people ascending and doing different things. All right, how can we stop? Right, because we were strong at that point.
You know how they stopped it? Straight out of Compton.
Yeah. That and crack. I think it's
both of them came together,
the
baby.
rap music, the gangster rap.
The gangster rap and the crack came
the crack,
together. West Coast, baby.
And then for our ladies to just
And then we got
once we lost respect for our ladies, it was only right that our ladies lost respect for us, bro. And I tell people that all the time, bro. When we start calling our women and whores and all that other stuff straight to their face and talking about them, and it was only a natural. That's what happens, right? When you lose respect that was given to you is lost as well, and we lost it. And
but also at the same time, if you keep downgrading your boys as a woman, they grow up with that type of complex. They grow up with that type of complex. So again, I understand that a lot of onus is put on us as men with respect towards women, but I'm going to flip the onus and say, hey, Miss Lady, as a single mom, because I'm sorry, in a household with a mother and a father, there's balance, or it should be balance. But in some cases,
the best balance is a household with a man by himself.
Oh yeah, the best balance is just like having two parents in the home with a father. Okay, and I'm the testimony to that because I was a single father to raise my child, and as you can see. Right. You know, she sat here with me.
Right.
How that respect is, and that respect is actually mutual.
Right.
But again, if you raise a son from 1 to 5, he's your king.
Yeah.
Can't do nothing wrong.
Nothing.
Then when he's 5 to like about 10, he's your little prince. Still can't do nothing wrong. By the time he starts turning 10 to up to 15, and his masculinity starts coming out at that point where he starts feeling himself, as we say in the vernacular, but it's a natural progression of our testosterone that's part of our development. You start to get agitated with the child now. In some cases, I've seen it. Now all of a sudden, he turns into you ain't shit. Or you just like your father.
Just like your father.
Okay? So how many times do you think that when you're saying that you're not diminishing the esteem of your child by comparing them to a parent that may be deadbeat or somebody that you ran off? Because let's be honest, not every father is a deadbeat. Not every, and because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of deadbeat mothers out here too. There's a lot of, you seen the video of the young lady talking and telling her son not to go get a job because you're going to mess up my link of benefits. The boy's like, wait a minute, I can go out and get a job. I can make money. I can take care of myself.
Better not get no job.
You better not get no job.
You gonna mess up my business.
All you got to do is just wait 2 years here, live here with me, blah, blah, blah. And then you can apply for housing. You can get this and you get that. We have people that want to live off of the government's teat. They want to suck the government's milk for the rest of their lives and then say, I'm an African American that's been through this type of trouble. My people were slaves. Well, slavery is being on the government's dime. Not for everyone, because I know that there's medical and other reasons why other people need the government's money, and rightfully so. But I'm talking about able-bodied people. You know who I'm talking about, that sit up here and play this game. Oh, I'm Black American, I'm African American, I'm so oppressed, da 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 da. But here you are when I see you at the bar.
So what is a person to do when they grew up in this situation? Grandma was in this situation. They don't know if they can really make it. are they supposed to just jump out the window? I say jump. That's what I'm saying.
Jump,
right?
and a safety net will appear.
And not necessarily a safety net. Sometimes you
might have to hit the ground.
You might have to hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
But you ain't gonna die.
No, you ain't gonna die.
You gotta jump again.
But you gotta jump. You gotta jump, bro. You know the year I jumped was 1999. The year I jumped was 1999, bro. I was so content being a hood dude. I was real content with, you know what I mean, being that boy, tooling around, sitting around, drinking beers, you know what I mean, up in the club. Blah, 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 blah. I was really content being that dude. I was loving life. Nobody could tell me nothing. Until I realized that life hit me hard because I had a couple mouths to feed. So I realized that the person I was employed by started cutting back hours because he couldn't afford me, because I was the highest person. You know, I started at the bottom and I rose as far as I could go. Couldn't give me no more raises. Right. Okay? You couldn't give me any more raises. And because it was a family business, couldn't give me any opportunities either. So I had to make a choice. Right. Whether leave the comfortability of doing what I've known for the past 10 years, where I'm the man here, or go start somewhere fresh doing something that I've never done before, but have the aptitude for doing.
Right.
Okay?
You had to jump.
I have the aptitude for doing, but I've never done it before. Was I scared as hell? Absolutely.
Right.
I had never been on a jet plane. Besides when I went to San Diego with my father.
Right.
But I had never been on a jet plane for a company, for a corporation, to go to another state. I had never been in a corporate setting where all of the people around me are college graduates. People who have been in the industry, who understand the terminology, that understood the terms and everything like that. I ain't understand a damn thing in 1999. Year 2000, I was a shit though, dog. I ain't gonna lie. I was a quick study. I said, oh, this is what I gotta do?
Right.
And understanding what I learned in books, because you're gonna have to pick up a book, folks. Okay? So if you're scared of doing something, go learn how to do it. Practice at being successful. Don't use the, I can't make it. Why don't you practice trying to be successful? There is a way. There is a method.
You just be okay with failing. How about that?
You can't be okay with failure.
But failure is a part of success.
No.
Yes.
No.
The fuck is you talking about? No. How you can't be? So you succeeded every time you tried? Every time you tried to do something, you succeeded?
Success is success. Failure is part of failure.
Failure
is part of failure. No. If you fail at something and stay there.
No, you don't stay there. You get the fuck back up and you try again.
That's why failure is part of failure. Success is its own model. Okay?
So what do you learn from success?
What do I learn from success?
Yes.
I ask successful people only. I don't talk to people who have failed.
But that's successful people.
No, it's not. They stayed in this.
So has Donald Trump failed? Do you consider him to be successful?
No, Donald Trump didn't fail.
Why didn't he fail? His companies go bankrupt. He's fallen before. He's failed before.
No. The companies went bankrupt.
Not because of him?
The companies went bankrupt.
Not because he didn't see it?
The companies went bankrupt.
Come on, Rich.
No, wait a minute. But hold on. But wait a minute. But is his name not a whole trademark entity? He can never fail.
Yeah, he can fail.
No.
He's become too big to fail. Right. That's a real situation.
He built his name as a name brand. Same thing as Barack Obama.
Right. He's become too big.
Same thing as anybody else.
Failing is a part of success. You don't learn anything from successes. You learn more from your failures. You learn more from the times Michael Jordan lost the championships. He learned how to win them. We watched him get bullied, and he learned how to operate in the finals to the point where every time he was there after that, he won. He didn't lose. So after he failed for 9 years, then he learned how to use the failure that he had to gain success. So that's what I'm saying. You don't know. You don't stay in your failure.
I know, but see, for me,
right,
my road to success may come with failures, but my road to success is my mind state that I'm on the road to success.
Right.
So if I don't get something, or if I fail at doing something, okay?
You don't leave it alone and go do something else. You continue to do the same thing.
No, what I do is that I do look at that failure and I find out exactly what went wrong. Because guess what? It may not be my fault.
Right.
So if something happens on my road to success that's not my fault, I'm not going to attribute it to me.
Right.
I'm not going to put it to I'm not going to put that failure to my success. I'm going to go and I'm going to figure out why it failed. And then I'm going to fix it and make that successful. Because I believe enough in me that I am a success, bro. Because I got so many people telling me that I'm a failure. I got so many people that said that I wouldn't be shit. I said so many people that told me that, oh, you'll never amount to anything. You're going to die before you turn 35.
Are you dead?
58 years old, baby.
Right. So you 23 years ahead of them.
Yeah, 58.
I get that.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. In me, failure is a fear-driven mechanism. Okay, I don't look going into like I've never done radio, so I don't look at this as hey, my first time is failing.
Why is it failing?
Because I don't know what I'm doing. Well, rather I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, so like I said, anybody else would take that and go, "Oh man, I didn't do well." Da da da. I look at it as,
I'm
"Hey
working.
man, I got opportunity. I got opportunity here.
Yeah.
I got opportunity." So I
Endless
do,
opportunity.
So I do the reverse with my thinking. So for me, and this is just for me, I've had so many people tell me, "Oh, you failed." I've never failed because I'm still breathing.
True.
I've never failed because I still fight. I never fail because I don't give up.
Right.
Okay? So if you fail, it means you quit.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why, bro. I'm gonna tell you why. Nobody went into anything not being competitive. You were either forced to cease fighting by a knockout, or you could not continue. And when you don't continue, when you don't move forward, in spite of the differences, the obstacles, the barriers, then that is failure. Obstacles and barriers are not failures. Those are life experiences that you are not prepared for. You're not prepared for this, or you're not prepared for that. But when you get to that barrier, do you quit? Or do you find a way to get over top of that barrier? Or do you find a way to get under that barrier? Or do you find a way to blow up that barrier because it's in your way, because you see success and you know where you're going and know where you're going to be? We can't keep using failing terms towards our kids, because guess what? Well, like I said, I'm a deseg kid. I'm a desegregation kid. I went from having a 90% black teachers in elementary school, John Worcester Elementary in Germantown. Shout out to John Worcester Elementary, which is now John Worcester Charter. But I went from having all black teachers to going to an all white school where maybe one or two black kids was in the class. And I had two black teachers, one for science and one for math, Miss Bandy and Miss Sims. And I'll never forget these dynamic black women. They told us, put your head up. You walk through this school, you don't look down. You don't never see yourself as a failure. You don't never let them sit up here and put you down. They're going to try to put you down, and they did. They verbally tried to put us down. So we had to be instilled with a certain power to overcome it, no matter what. That's where I come from.
What are you overcoming?
At the time?
No, I'm just saying, in life, what do you overcome?
What do I overcome?
Yeah.
Now I overcome the stigma of being categorized
as
a person of color who doesn't go along with the status quo.
Now that's you at 58 years old.
Yes. I don't go along with the status quo.
For me, I don't go along with the status quo either, but when I say I understand that failure is a part of life, I'm not always going to be right. Just like you're not always right.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to be able to chalk it up and say, you know what, I was wrong there.
Yeah.
Right? I admit I was wrong there, right? I shouldn't have done it that way. There have been things that I've done that people could say was a failure. It didn't work, right? Mm-hmm. But I keep on moving, right? I'm not saying sit in the failure. I'm not saying understand that failure is a part of life and don't do anything and sit here and beat yourself up and be depressed. What I'm saying is see that failure is a part of success. That failed, I got up, I did it right. I got it right now. Now I can move on to something else. As you climb up that ladder, bro, it's going to be tons of rungs that you thought you wasn't going to reach. That people looked at you and said, man, you'll never get to that one. Or that'll never happen. And you get to it and you're like, damn, I did that.
Yeah.
Right? You look down at it. So I just say be okay with failing, because if you go for it and you miss it, don't mean you're going down to the bottom. You're just going down to the next rung.
But see, here's the thing. We can't. This is what I'm saying about the 70s. We were not built with that option. We were told failure is not an option. That's what we were given. That's the Gen X. That's the Gen X in us, bro. If you sit down and talk to a Gen Xer, and I guarantee you this phrase will come up. Failure is not an option.
But look at us now, though.
Huh?
Look at us now. If this ain't failure,
No.
If where we at right now, not individually.
Who did not follow the roadmap for success that was left for us? What generation?
Obviously, it was us. Obviously, it was the motherfuckers ahead of us, because it's 45.
Yeah.
So what generation am I? I'm not a millennial.
No, you're seventh. You're seventh generation, bro. You're right after me.
So like, who failed me? The old heads before me failed me.
Yeah.
They didn't tell me anything.
Hold on. Watch this.
Who failed them?
Who failed them?
Right. Old heads before them.
Yep.
Who failed them?
Hold on.
But
here's the thing. Everybody still got the message.
Yeah, I got the message.
Okay.
Right.
And what we were supposed
to click.
What we were supposed to do with it is a different thing.
Right.
A lot of people didn't do anything with the message. I got the message. So that's what makes me different, because I got the message.
Right.
There are people, and this is why I'm saying it's not a failure. It's more as a lack of knowledge on how to do something correctly. I'm dead serious. It's a lack of knowledge.
Yo, correctly, that's failure.
No.
If you get it correct, if you get all the answers right, you're right. If you get them all wrong, what do? You fail.
If you've never been taught how to ride a horse, of course you're going to fail. But whose fault is that if you've been never taught how to ride a horse?
It's the person before you, but you can teach yourself how to ride a horse. You can hop back on that joint. Who wrote the first horse? Who taught the first motherfucker how to ride a horse? Nobody. He had to fall. He had to get bucked off the horse. So he had to learn how to ride. The first person.
But he didn't take failure for an option. He didn't get bucked off the horse and go, you know what?
I'm saying the same shit. No, I'm not accepting failure at all.
Right. So a lack of acceptance of something makes the other part stronger, makes the other part dominant.
Right.
And that's what's missing. We have to break certain cycles that allow for people to use that as an excuse. Oh man, what if they don't like me? You're gonna get out there anyway. Case in point. My grandkids didn't know how to swim. And I took them down to the beach in North Carolina and led them into the water and showed them how to put their face and blow the bubbles and
in the
do
salt water?
Yeah, in the salt water, because you still got, listen, if you're going to swim, you're going to swim, bro. But we were down in North Carolina, so we weren't up here.
Right.
Yeah, in North Carolina.
Yeah.
We weren't in Galveston.
Right.
Charles Barkley. But being down there and teaching them a skill that I learned made them stronger. But I didn't allow for them to say, I can't.
Right.
And I think that that's where failure starts, is that we allow our kids to say, I can't.
No.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you will.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you
These
must.
positive reinforcements is what we had. Yes. We had more positive reinforcements because we understood the struggles that we were coming out from the 60s, bro.
Yes, we do.
Okay? We got to a certain point and America failed us. America put those mechanisms of crack, mass incarceration, the AIDS epidemic.
But other people succeeded. Other people gained. Other people
if somebody
off of us.
Right.
So they learned that these black people they can do some things, but if we just get them right, they can make us money. They can continue to make us money. You look at the prison. How much money that makes. You feel me? You think about judges, lawyers, accountants, therapists, everybody that got jobs because we got drug
because why?
dealers.
Because we also have a society that glamorizes prison life, that glamorizes the shooting life, that glamorizes the.
That was the only thing that we could relate to. That's what we were going through.
Right.
So it's like if we're telling our story, it's not really glamorizing. We're telling our story, then the next generation sees us telling the story, then they start talking about it. Like we got drill music now. We wasn't rapping about killing them. We was talking about fuck the police. You feel me?
Yeah, we were talking about the very efforts that were plaguing our community that were not organically driven. It was more the problems that were plaguing our community that was brought into our community. Okay, because again, like I said, where I grew up in Germantown, bro, we didn't have shootings on our blocks. We didn't have drag races on our blocks. We didn't have a drug house on our block. When we did have a drug house on our block, that house got boarded up, bro. You got off the block. I'm dead serious. You got off the block because we had men that stood by a principle that we're not allowing this to happen. But we're past that point now where we can't go to other men that we know. We're not approaching this from the blind. That we know and say, yo, what you doing? We can't have these civil conversations anymore. Because everybody's got this persona. And I keep telling them, you ain't grow up in the 70s with the gangsters, thugs, and killers I know. I don't even say their names. You feel me? I don't shout no sets. Because I know who they are. I know what they did. I know what they stood for. And I knew that you would straighten up when these individuals came around. Ain't no why you ain't gonna, you know what I mean? When one of them came up on the block, oh, you straightened up. If they told you to move, you moved. We had that power. Yes, crack decimated our communities, brought in by the government. Guns, brought in by the government. AIDS, brought in by the government. Mass incarceration, brought in by the government. And of course, the murder rate, brought in by the government. All of those things combined, we survived. Now what? Not to diminish it, but we talk about it. Now what? Can we bring back the old morals with the new value?
Now we build.
And rebuild?
Now we build.
That's what I'm talking about. That's where I'm at with it. Let's go reach these kids. Let's keep these programs going. But that's the right track. That's the right track. What you're doing, what I see other individuals doing, not hating on nobody. If you're reaching a child right now today and you keeping them from going down the block and picking up a gun, and you got a young boy that want to participate with the kids and run ball with them, and they got the little water guns and all this other type of stuff, but you got them in your eyesight. You got them on that grass. You got them up by that pond. You got them there. You keep them there. You keep them there. That was the consistency of us during the 70s. We made sure we kept you so you wouldn't fall into that pitfall, so you didn't get distracted by that person. This was the Black American experience with us, is what I'm trying to say. This is when we were Black Americans. Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. This is where it comes from. Everybody talking about Big Mama and everything like that from the 70s. That's what it was.
We don't have those no more.
Okay? We got Big Mama pretenders.
No, we don't got.
Because I'm going to tell you like this.
We ain't got
I
Big
got to
Mama
stop
pretenders.
going. Listen, bro. Unless I know who the people are for real, I got to stop going to certain places because some of these people that's calling themselves Big Mamas, their mac and cheese ain't right. Y'all doing something wrong.
Mac and cheese ain't macking.
It ain't macking. I'm sorry. I'm starting to feel a certain type of way.
You can't feel no type of way because the people that taught them how to cook, they learned.
I'm starting to feel a certain type of way because, like I said, I have events at my American Legion, and you know them Big Mamas coming in, bro. Some of them from the South, baby, and they be like, "Come on over here, honey child." And I smell the food, man. I go over there. I'm like, yeah, this is Mac. This
It's
man,
that Mac right here,
man. I'll go home, and I'm gonna fix something for dinner. That's left.
Right.
But that's what I want. I want that experience, like the cooking experience, the fun experience. We can do simple things, bro, that will attract these kids' attention. Watch this. Potato sack race. 3-legged race.
Kids don't want to be in no potato sack.
Bro, you go get a burlap sack. Bro, go get 3 burlap sacks, right? Put a child in the sack and tell them to hop to the finish line, and you got some candy at the end.
What's that? I don't want to hop in no It is itchy. It stink. Look, I done heard it already.
Bro, watch this.
We didn't have a problem with. See, we went outside.
Right.
We went outside.
You got to bring these things back.
Now you can't bring it back.
Yeah, you can.
Just try it. Come to Fusion Friday, bring a burlap sack and see how many kids look at you like, I'm not getting that. Why they on their phone?
3-legged race. Listen, 3-legged races.
You got to show up. You got to show up consistently.
Listen, and I see. Hold on. What's this about? What's this about? Chester getting 2 new bakeries when we already got a bakery in here that's fire.
Fatso's?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What they talking about? They bringing in 2 new bakeries.
I mean, they're gonna bring. Hopefully, if it's black owned, it's not a problem with that. Ain't nothing wrong with competition.
Okay. Okay. I'm just saying. I hope it's not. I hope it's not the corporate bakery Jones that we get. I hope it is businesses that are conducive to the community and the neighborhood. I hope that, but I'm not really. I'm really not into the corporations too much in Chester.
Yeah,
I think Chester has his own. Again, Chester has his own talent.
Right.
Chester has a lot of talent. Chester has a lot of people that know how to cook and bake and do all of these things. I think that a lot of times that we've had some local people in our local municipalities asked to, promote black business and do black business here, and they've been overlooked for one reason or another. I know that has happened. We have an individual down in Upper Darby right now that wants to open up a Japanese fusion restaurant, and they're giving him a hard time and, trying to open up a business up near 69th Street, and we got no stores. Bro, 69th Street is a ghost town, bro.
Yeah.
Leonardo Pizza is up there. The movie theater is gone. Gap is gone. What else is gone?
Most brick and mortar shut down after 2020 when they learned that they can make more money offline. Like corporations saw that, right?
Yeah, they saw that. But in our case, that's where we had our riot at.
Right.
And there was supposed to be money that was supposed to come from out of the COVID relief to go into the business sector to help keep the businesses afloat. Right. And they didn't get that money.
Foot Locker still up there?
Yeah, Foot Locker is because it's an international giant and it's on a corner. Right. So it's always going to get traffic, but they robbed the hell out of that joint, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, they robbed that joint. They robbed the Ross up there. They robbed the Burlington factory up there. And those businesses, because they were being hit with a whole bunch of taxes, and the movie theater did revitalize that corridor, but once the movie theater went, there was no reason for anybody to, come into 69th Street. There was no reason for anybody to come into that area. Right. So the bottom part of 69th Street, nothing's sustaining that really except for H&M. You got H&M, then you got Villa. He's still open. And then after that, you got nothing. Barbershop, pizza shop, radio shop, gift store, nothing, nailery, Foot Locker.
That movie theater, that was a good movie theater.
But watch this. You know what? All of those things that were put up 69th Street, you know who they were for? What? It was to drive the black revenue in Upper Darby. It was intentional. I was told that, and I understood it. It was a sound plan because that's what you wanted. You're in a black neighborhood. You're in a black community. You want black dollars. You bring in the things that black people want to buy. Real simple. And it was explained to me like that, and I said, hey, it makes sense. Some people had why you trying to cater to the black money? That's the community. That's the community. But we also had small mom and pop shops in conjunction with the corporations coming in. And I think that that's the biggest problem in anybody moving forward that wants to bring in these companies into Chester. Are you going to give these small businesses an infusion so they can be competitive and grow with these other companies that have money? These companies have money. Chester doesn't need to incentivize them. All Chester has to say, hey, listen, we got this spot. We'll give it to you at a good rate. We'll give you some tax, whatever.
We'll give you tax nothing.
You know what I mean?
No, pay.
Right.
Pay.
But see, here's the thing. People are looking for that. I get it. I get it. But look at it like this. Look at the Roy Rogers over Cherry Hill.
Right.
Imagine if you put a Roy Rogers over here in Chester.
Roy Rogers went crazy. I was over there.
Yeah, that was wild, bro.
Boy.
Listen, and people talking about. I don't understand the mystique about Roy Rogers. See, you ain't grow up in the 70s.
You ain't grow up in the 70s.
You ain't grow up in the 70s.
You definitely didn't.
You didn't understand how you can get a three-piece meat. You get the original the three-piece.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get fries, burger, and some chicken with a soda.
Yep.
Okay? You ain't have to worry about nothing. And the chicken was great. I don't know about the burger now. I heard about it, but the chicken is great, and it was better than what had came out. Roy Rogers was the truth.
Roy Rogers was definitely.
You know what I mean? So you're getting a part of our nostalgia. You're getting a part of I don't see what the hype is.
I think bringing it back because they realize they can do that, right? And I'm all for it.
Yo, what's up? What's up, Raven? What's going on, bro? What's up, family?
But we really need to bring our community back, man. Get our community back to doing what it was doing.
Our community has to want to face some truths, bro. Like I was all through Chester this weekend, primarily this weekend,
right.
And I ran into some familiar faces that we both mutually know, and the conversations were pleasant, but I'm a reader of everything. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I know.
I'm a reader of everything.
What?
I need to tell everybody something. I'm a very good judge of body language and character. Yes. Please, I do it. I do this for a living. Just so you know, I do this for a living.
People don't like it.
Okay, sorry. That's what I do.
People definitely don't like it.
That's what I do.
But you leave it alone, man.
I'm an analyst, bro. And I do leave it alone. You know why I leave it alone? Because I'm not going to waste my energy and time trying to convince somebody that the direction that we need to go, and you don't want to go that direction. So I'm gonna respectfully get out of your way.
Yeah,
because you're not in mine, but I'm gonna respectfully get out of your way. But also at the same time, I have a lot of folks who see the direction that I'm going, and they are amenable to it.
Right.
And, we go in that direction. I also follow some other people in the direction that they're going.
Yes, you do.
You know what I mean? I'm not just a leader and saying, hey, you follow me, I know what I'm talking about. 80% of the time, I'm usually following somebody else.
Absolutely.
The only time that I'm really being a leader is when I go before my council meeting and when I'm in my community. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the other things that other folks got going on, I'm a spectator. I'm a recorder, or I'll go and support. I'm not leading, but a lot of people see that because of, this personality, they feel as though that I'm the driving force. I'm not. Right. I'm not. I'm just a little bit more vocal than most people are. I'm a lot more vocal with the truth because, again, I'm at an age where I see people played around with the truth and our people suffer. Like, case in point, I'm going to bring up this trash strike real quick. I believe that Mr. Blye did the best job that he possibly could underneath the circumstances. But again, black people, you didn't understand what you were dealing with when it came to the city of Philadelphia, your first black female mayor, and this union. And I'm going to break something down real quick because this was on my heart during this whole thing. First of all, I'm always 100% pro-union. My father was Local 542 operating engineers. So we don't cross picket lines in this family. Never have, never did, never will. I want to make that very perfectly clear. I do not cross picket lines. I do not encourage anybody crossing picket lines, anything like that or whatever.
Niggas was crossing the picket line.
Listen, I know that. I know that.
That's why we can't have nothing, bro.
I mean, just, that was the unity. Philly has held this union hostage for 40 years. The very first time that they held them hostage was from back in 1985 with Wilson Good, when they got a judge to get an injunction to make them go back to work. And ever since 1985, they have dealt with that union from the strength of getting a judge to get them to go back to work. Every time they need them to go back to work, a mayor has went and got a judge. But guess what? DC 33 members, you put these people in power for 40 years, who've given you a shitty contract for 40 years, who've given you no benefits for 40 years. You keep putting the same people who keep giving you this crazy contract stuff and then got no money for you, but when the police come, they're going to have money for them. When these teachers come, they're going to have money for them. When these other professional people come, they're going to come for you. They already showed you separation in your ranks with the STEP program, where they're going to give the crossing guards a little bit more of a bump than the sanitation people, a little bit more than this, and they had made the 911, the judge made the 911 workers come back and cross the picket lines. They didn't cross the picket lines on their own. They were made to come back. The 911 operators. They were made to come back. They didn't understand that this mayor is different, and that it's different with union negotiations now, because this mayor knew she had all of the bargaining chips in her pocket, and she showed it to you before the last day, before you signed, got this contract done. She showed it to you by hiring Waste Management. This is how she was going to break the union. They weren't going to agree to it. And she knew that the union had the popularity amongst the people. People was 100% for the union. What the union doesn't understand, that you're living in the age of instant gratification, which is different from when they went on strike back in 1985, and it took 20 days to resolve that. We live today in an age of self-gratification. Nobody was going to wait around 2-3 weeks for their trash to be picked up, and the mayor knew that. When LL Cool J and who was it? LL Cool J and Jasmine Sullivan got out of the Welcome to America thing, blah blah blah. She didn't come on there, and she wasn't mad. She was like, oh, thank you. We respect the fact that you respect this and everything. Our show's still going to go on, da 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 da. Underneath the scenes, she was going to spend that sanitation, but she was going to spend that sanitation budget, and she started by getting Waste Management out there and getting all the sites cleaned up. So now the people ain't mad. So just like in Rome, throw them bread and entertain them, they'll always love you. She did what the people really want. Our trash picked up. That took the steam out of the sails from the popularity of the people, the public popularity. Then she went in and said, look here, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. Your people are hungry because you didn't set up a strike fund. Every other major union sets up a strike fund a month or two before they actually go on strike and gather their members and say, get your dues in. If you're late with your dues, get your dues up, blah, blah, blah. Start preparing, blah, blah, blah. They didn't prepare their people. And it's the truth. You didn't prepare your people. Also, I've read through, some of the stuff that they're giving them. Where's the programs to get these people, the working poor, out of poverty? Where's the financial literacy program so they're not spending their money recklessly when they get paid? Where's the first-time homeowners buyers program for the ones that are paying rent? City of Philadelphia. Why aren't these things added into the contract so that way you don't have these consistent problems later on? You know why? Because they want to control you. They don't really want to give you anything. The cost of living is 5% higher than it was, and they're giving you 3%. That's all being eaten in taxes. You're getting a one-time bonus of $1,500. Guess what? You know what's coming home? $900. $900. That's getting taxed. And then everybody saying, we got something. We got something. In the long run, I'm sorry, folks, you got nothing. And I'm going to say this. If it were me, and if I were the union president, which I'm not, but this is my opinion, if this were me, I would go to my membership and I would tell all of them, change your voters registration to the letter I. because that would get their attention a lot faster because they count you. They count you and they count on you. That's why they do, because they know that you're going to go right out there and you're going to go campaign hard for that crispy $100 bill in November to get a crispy $100 bill. That's the African-American part of a stamp that I keep talking about. And they're going to say, we got to get you out to vote. African-Americans, you got to do your... Here we go. Here's $100. That's what we get. And then we get weak, ineffective leadership that forgets all about you, forgets all about feeding your kids, forgets about the fact that the electricity just went up 12% this month. You're paying 12% higher on the electric bill. Let's not even talk about the stormwater authority here in Chester. These criminals, they're straight criminals. They are straight robbing. What's that section in Aston? They making them, bro. They got a section of it's like 2 blocks or something like that. They making them pay like $66 more on their. You got some real criminals around here, bro. How did these receivers make $17 million and Chester ain't improved with them being here?
Well, that's from the state.
How they make $17 million and they didn't improve anything by coming here?
How can you improve something if the people aren't ready to embrace what you want to improve? How are you going to improve if the government is taking you to court and fighting with you every damn time? You can't improve nothing.
Again,
you got to get in to fit in.
Those are the individuals who are acting against acting against the standards of Black Americans because you don't represent yourself. You don't represent yourself. Let me say this. In Upper Darby, when they had an issue with the license inspection guy with the plumbers and everything like that, the plumbers union, they showed up.
I mean, who's supposed to show up? Well, for what you're talking about?
No, hold on. But when they showed up, the policy got changed.
How long has the receiver been here?
Receiver's been here, 3 years?
Came in 2020.
Yeah.
We were in COVID.
Yeah,
it was
COVID.
probably
Yeah,
the year.
2021.
2020, probably 19. The beginning of 2020.
Yeah.
So he's been here 6 years, 5 years. With the staff that he has and all the court that they had to go to, you don't think you would rack up a bill of $17 million? What do you think it costs fucking P. Diddy not to go to jail? That ain't even 4 years.
You know what I can't stand about this?
What?
When they talk about that?
Yeah.
The 2 words I can't stand.
Go ahead.
Administrative fees.
Yeah. Well,
Administrative. No, bro. Watch this. How are you charging a fee for something you're supposed to do anyway?
No, I'm supposed to do it. These other people ain't supposed to do it.
No. Sorry. You are hired as an administrative assistant to help the administrator with the work that he's already getting paid to do.
Yeah, but these other people that we bring in,
they're
the lawyers that go into court, those are
listen, I understand the lawyers, but your solicitor is already on a retainer. Why is he charging you double for work that he's already on retainer for?
We don't have
You got a solicitor?
The city council has a solicitor.
Yes.
The receiver is that's different.
So the receiver should not be billing you for state work, in my opinion.
No, they're not billing the city. They're only getting paid from the state.
Okay, so you're getting...
The city of Chester has not paid the receiver anything. Has not taken any money off the books from the city of Chester. It's $17 million from the state.
Okay. $17 million from the state.
Right.
For work performed by the receiver and his team.
Right.
And none of that money flowed through.
If it was to flow through, we still would be in receivership. If we would have put that $17 million in the kitty, we would still be in receivership.
Again, I'm trying to see what Chester got out of it though.
Chester gets out of it what Chester puts into it. They say what Chester makes Chester. So if Chester's going to continue to make bullshit and we're going to continue to try to buy property that don't make no damn sense, and you got 4, 5, 6 event locations, you feel me? Because you want everybody to come through and party and leave out. You're not trying to give any help to anybody. You're going to have the same shit keep happening. That's what happens. Damn.
Listen.
Go ahead.
I again, bro. I'm just sorry. Like, it's a lot.
It's a whole lot. But that's what happens when people are not cooperative and don't want to change things and don't want to allow things to change, man. You get aged out. You get aged out. So, I mean, we've been doing this for 2 hours, man.
Yep. Yeah. Let me wrap this up. I want to read something to you real quick.
Go ahead.
Because I want to line this up for my next week's program. I'm going to have a very special guest that's going to come through our SteamYard, and they're going to be doing this remotely. I want to talk about, I'm going to go back again, it's with Black history, Black American history, but I want to go back and talk about next week about the Society of First African Families of English America, the roots of a nation, and honoring the legacy of American first families. So this person that I want to bring onto the show next week is a direct descendant of James Armistead Lafayette of the great state of Virginia. He was an enslaved African American who served in the Continental Army during the American Revolutionary War under the Marquis de Lafayette, and later received legislative emancipation. He became the first African American spy and a double agent during the war when reported the activities of Benedict Arnold after he defeated the British and the activities of Lord Charles in the days leading up to the siege of Yorktown. The reason why I'm bringing this person on is because I've already said before that our stories aren't all about slavery. Our stories aren't all about slavery. You need to get a different perception. You need to hear the stories of freedom. It's a necessity that we share these stories in our history in America. So next week, get ready to listen to someone who can tell you from their bloodline about an American Revolutionary War hero who was African American. And we're going to have it right here on cmpradio.net, the voice of Chester, the wonderful world of Rich Blye. All right? So, with that being said, our program is about to end in a minute, but I got to keep the air going a little bit because I'm waiting for my producer to come back into the room. As you can see, we've had a visitor here with us at the studio. I just want to leave you guys with another thought while I'm waiting for the producer to come back in. Again, I try to tell people I'm not the expert, but what I do is that I read extensively and I gain the knowledge of what's been told to me through books that have been written before our time and written by people from our time. A lot of times when we talk about these things, it's not a point of debate. It's not a point of where I'm telling people that you need to listen to me and expect me to, have the all of the knowledge, because I don't. I have an opinion. I have a point of view. And since this is my show, this is what I do. I just express it. I bring food for thought. I bring challenging questions to the forefront. I want to make sure that we're having responsible dialogues that benefit us at the ground level. I could care less about Joe Biden. I could care less about Donald Trump. I could care less about your D's and your R's and all the other type stuff. I could care less. There have been people on the Democratic side that have lied to us. There's people on the Republican side that have lied to us. There's people on the state level that lied to us. There's people on the municipal city level that lied to us. And, we have to navigate these waters and do what we have to do in order to live here in America. But make no mistake of it. When I speak of African American and Black American, it is not to diminish either side. These words are interchangeable in my opinion, and all I do is bring to the forefront. But I am going to say, as a product of the 70s, my preference is I'd rather be called a Black American because that's what I grew up with. I say it loud. I say it proud. I'm Black and I'm proud. And that'll end the show. The wonderful world of Rich Blye. See you next week at 7.